Hi everyone, this is 6.1, the Civil War. The objective for today is you will be able to explain the sequence of major events during the Civil War by completing a timeline. Again, you're going to set your notes up Cornell note style. Make sure you have Lincoln, Succession, and War on the left-hand side with plenty of space in between. These are the three topics you will be taking notes on today. Just a brief overview of the presidents that we are going to cover throughout this time period. We're going to talk about Abraham Lincoln, who was our 16th president from 1861 to 1865. He was the president during the Civil War. Andrew Johnson was our 17th president, 1865 to 1869. He became president after Abraham Lincoln was assassinated. He was the president during Reconstruction. And then finally, Ulysses S. Grant was our 18th president from 1869 to 1877, and he is one that ended Reconstruction. Lincoln becomes president. He won the U.S. Senate election in 1858 after a series of very famous debates called the Douglas-Lincoln debates. And this was between Stephen Douglas and Abraham Lincoln. This is where he gave his famous speech, "A house divided against itself cannot stand." And the story was talking about the importance of keeping the Union together. 2 years later, Lincoln won the presidency in 1860, and he was viewed as a moderate. He never claimed to want to eliminate slavery when he was running for president. He really wanted to do whatever he had to do to keep the Union together as a whole. However, the South began to fear him as soon as he became president and was worried that he was going to abolish slavery, was worried that he meant the end of slavery, even though he never once promised that during his presidential run. However, the South decided to start seceding anyway. To secede or secession is to withdraw formally. We started to see the Deep South secede from the Union. The first to do so was South Carolina. After Lincoln won the presidency, we saw 7 states leave the Union, and we saw the beginning of the Civil War, which was the Battle of Fort Sumter. The Battle of Fort Sumter, which is right outside of South Carolina, Charleston, South Carolina, in fact, began in April 1861. The Confederates did win this battle. Fort Sumter was in need of supplies, so it was the Union Army was there. So the Union Army was there. As you can see, it's completely surrounded by water, and still is to this day. And they needed supplies, so Lincoln decided to go ahead and send them supplies. When he did that, the president of the Confederate, Jefferson Davis, responded by firing upon Fort Sumter. So he went ahead and had shots fired towards Fort Sumter, which then led to Lincoln calling for 75,000 volunteers for the Union Army. Virginia then succeeded after Fort Sumter in April of 1861. The war began officially April 12th of 1861. And ended on April 9th of 1865. How the war was set up. The South needed the North to give up, and the North needed to subdue the South. One of the things that we saw happening in the Civil War was hand-to-hand combat between individuals, because remember, it took a long time to reload these guns. Ooh, I'm sorry, guys. It took a long time to reload these guns, and so a lot of times it led to them fighting hand-to-hand. As you could see, these ends of the guns were very sharp. They could use it to stab one another. One of the major battles, the Battle of Manassas, which actually happened a few months after the start of the war, July of 1861, the Confederates won that battle, and it proved that it was going to be a long war. Originally, we thought maybe it'd be a quick war. The South would rejoin the Union quickly, but little to their thoughts, the South was very prepared, had enough ability to fight and win, and showed that it was definitely going to be a long war. Lincoln's major focus during the war was to block the southern ports, meaning that the South, their main way of income was by cotton and trading cotton. And so if their ports were blocked, they couldn't get major ships in and out easily. And so therefore they couldn't trade cotton, which was a major hurt to their economic system. This was called the Anaconda Plan, which was created by General Winfield Scott, and he decided that blockading the ports would be the most successful form of attack to hurt the Southern economy. The war continued with the Battle of Antietam, which was the single bloodiest battle. And what happened and why this was important is because it caused General Lee to go back to the South. So General Lee had led a series of attacks into the North, and after this battle, he was forced to retreat back into the South. 1863 was a turning point for the war at the Battle of Gettysburg. The Union general, Ulysses S. Grant, captured Vicksburg, which allowed the Union to control the Mississippi River. And also the Union won the Battle of Gettysburg. And this was kind of the last big fight for Lee. His army was greatly weakened after this battle. And then in April of 1865, General Lee finally surrendered at the Appomattox Courthouse near Lynchburg, Virginia. And you can see a recreation of the signing of the signing of the end of the war. Just to give you a general idea of Union states versus Confederate states, we have a map here showing which states were Union, which states were Confederate, and then which states were border states. These we have Maryland, West Virginia, Kentucky, and Missouri were all border states. And that's it for today.